Alright, next step. So I removed this shield. There's two bolts, these two, and in the instruction manual they kind of show it, which looks like it's towards the back side, these two bolts, but it's really these two bolts. So I don't know if they just used a universal picture, but I got the gist of what they wanted to do. It's basically remove that shield, and then you put the bolts back in. Hopefully they're right about that and I don't have to take them out again, because I'm not sure what size they are, but it's got to be a metric, and I was able to use some English. But next step here is to modify the chute, and they reference this horizontal line right here, and you're gonna have to cut and make a cut, and it's not too clear, but that's what they tell you to do. So you locate D, which I just pointed out, and then you got to cut 1 inch above that, marked section F. You go up here and there's like two extra lines, so I don't know. And there's G in there too, inward dimension, I don't know, 1 13/16. I don't know how you measure that, but maybe I'll go 1 3/4 or something. And then you cut out and remove, I guess, that whole corner. So I don't think it's critical, but it's got to be there to make way for this other bracket that goes on, which again doesn't match what the instructions show. They show all this stuff here and here, and I haven't got that. So maybe this is old, and then they came up with this guard to guard the pulleys, and I'm not sure how that mounts, but hopefully we'll figure that out. Alright, so with I'm going to use 1 inch, I think. Nope. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. 7/8 box wrench. I'm going to go counterclockwise, just like you do loosening a bolt. And then with my left hand, I held onto the blade, and you get the back side of the blade, not the sharp end, because you're going in counterclockwise direction. So I just put these gloves on here. Just while I did it, and it did slip pretty good, so just watch your knuckles. But I loosened this spring here, hooks onto this hook, and the whole belt gets loose. So that's real easy. It's not really hard to pull on to loosen it. So now the belt's loose. I got the nut off. I'm going to pull the shiv off, and I'm going to put this double shiv on. So I'm assuming it goes this way on there, but I'll verify that as I take it off and put that one on. The instructions aren't too helpful because I got all these brackets and nothing seems to match what I have. So all these brackets down here mount on the chute end. I don't have any of this stuff, and I can't seem to find this cover, but I'm pretty sure it goes over the top of this. Oh yeah, I cut the notch out, so here's the notch. I just went up 1 inch parallel to the other line that was there. It's in the instructions, and then okay, well, there's my little helper, Mickey. Hi, Mick. He's my little sitting towel here. But anyways, here's the double shiv and the deep end. So I was wrong. It goes that way. And installed it with a 7/8 socket because it's so deep you can't get that same wrench on it. So I used a 7/8 socket. and then just put the spring back and tighten the belt. So the spring went pretty quick. So next, what we're doing is I took this front wheel off, and then this bracket here mounts in these two square holes. That one there and that one there. And just a couple of shoulder bolts, and we'll install that bracket, put the wheel back on. Should be pretty quick. Okay, so bracket's on. There's actually 3 bolts. A larger bolt here, and 2 smaller bolts here and here, lock nuts, and the wheel is back on now. So next thing is to start working on these brackets that go back here. There's 2 holes here that I found that some of this mounts to, so we'll figure that out next. Alright, so these 2 brackets, they hold this cover that goes over the pulley, and that's this. Well, here's this bracket that mounts in these 3 holes here, and this cover here mounts over the pulley and blocks the belts from anyone getting caught in them. So I'll be mounting that next, and along with this bracket, which is a pulley guard, and this mounts over here in these 2 holes, basically like something like that. Anyways, these 2 holes. So that mounts there, and then the other belt, this belt over here, that wraps around the pulley. And this is like the tensioning mechanism, I guess. There's a few parts left over. This is basically what I got remaining. And then this little spring form goes in there, I don't know, something like that. So I'll put that together, and then we'll give you an update. Okay, so there was a little bit of thought put into this. So you usually feed the spring like they show here down through this hole, and you got to snake this wire form through. This is a little notch out, so you're able to slip it out and then feed this in as well. And then once I get the spring in the right orientation, I just put a pair of pliers and held the spring and pulled it back towards this and looped it over, and that kind of loaded it. And then what you do is you get these self-tapping holes, and there's a hole existing just like these holes here and here. Those aren't holes, those are just wear marks. There's another hole over here. There's these self-tapping screws, and you just kind of put them in the hole and just with a socket just kind of torque it down through, and it'll strip its own holes in. So that mounts this bracket. This hole goes down into here, and this bracket is all notched around this little feature. So I'm going to put that in next, and then I'll mount that. So here's this all mounted. It's just one wire tap, one self-tapping screw, and then this wire form all spring loaded here. I showed you how to install that, and then install this bracket in the 3 holes, just 3 bolts, and then this, you see these 2 holes here, wire form goes on there, and I think it holds pressure down on this whole bracket over these shivs, and then there's a little clip here, and I believe that goes on the end of this to lock it in place. So we'll put that on next. Alright, so here it is installed. There's that little retainer back here, and this whole thing now slides out of the way, so I guess you can take the pulley off the this feed blower here. So I'm hoping that'll be installed soon. So get the front bracket, get this cover, and now this little bracket that I showed you earlier will be going on. And I'm assuming that's these other self-tapping screws here. I got one, I gotta find the other one. So we'll put that on next. Alright, so a lot's happened here as I went through. So there's this little bar that goes in this bracket in the front we put in earlier, and that goes into this feature on the blower. All that was on it, and this tensions the belt, so I loosened that up, and the belt feeds down underneath this cover here, which can slide out of the way, so you can get at the belt, and it just flips over the top sheave. Make sure the belt's orientated correctly. I installed this side bracket down here, this bracket down here, with the two self-tapping screws, and that kind of protects the back side of the belt on this side. So that's basically it. Now I just gotta install the chute. So chute just goes from this opening here, which you can see the propeller in here, and the chute right here. This goes in. Somehow like this. Connects up to this flexible piece. It's got all these little rings on it. I don't know if I have to cut it off or not, but I'll look at that. And then there's this fitting here that locks it in place.